Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's Reading the Red this Friday morning, this glorious Friday morning. Wonderful sunshine. It's going to be a beautiful day all day long. Luke chapter 10, verse 33. But a Samaritan who was on a journey came upon him, and when he saw him, he felt compassion. So a Samaritan, so unlike the Levite and the priest, they weren't coming from Jerusalem down to Jericho, but this Samaritan was on a journey. He was probably on his way up to Jerusalem, making his way to the place where God would hold his name. So he's on a journey and he bumps into the man who is there on the ground dying, and he intervenes. And the thing that made him intervene was the compassion that he felt in his heart. Now, the key players in this story is the priest, the Levite, and the Samaritan. And those who know about Jewish history know that the Jews and the Samaritans, all through the scriptures, are in conflict because of their historical birth representation. They weren't quite sure if they were genuinely Jewish in the fullest sense of the word. And so this sense of being less than the Jewish people was upon this conflict within the two different nations. And so Jesus deliberately uses, as it were, an enemy of Jewish people to portray a representation of someone who exercised compassion. And this idea of loving your enemy is a key factor in going through life in a better way than hating your enemy. Do you know, if we would just learn to apply the principle of loving our enemy, the world could change overnight. But we won't, and we don't. And that's why the world stays poisonous. But just taking charge, just trying to understand the value system as to why your enemy is your enemy. The Jews in this story, the Samaritans and the Jews, they're in conflict. And Jesus uses this Samaritan to portray the man of compassion. And he develops the story by revealing that it's compassion that motivates not only the Samaritan, but motivates God as well. God is compassionate. And so therefore, anyone who has anything to do with God should represent compassion. But the Levite and the priest, clearly, though they had a lot to do with God, though they had the penned law, it didn't bring about in them the very representation of love called compassion. And therefore, their identity with God was undermined. They didn't reflect God. But those who follow God need to have compassion. And the Samaritan in this story, Jesus elevates and says, compassion motivated him. And we carry the story on Monday. God bless you. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you then.